Welcome to this week's Ask Charlie, and welcome back to my kitchen. It feels like ages since we've cooked anything together. And with Valentine's Day fast approaching, I wanted to share this with you. It is a chocolate orange mousse, and I think chocolate and orange are a match made in heaven. And I love a chocolate treat, so I thought this was a perfect opportunity to share this recipe with you. So let's get cooking. I'm using Lindt 70% cocoa. It's just really good quality, and we're using 200 grams. I'm going to break it up into small pieces into a glass bowl, and then we're going to melt it. With my chocolate broken, I'm placing my glass bowl on a saucepan with a small amount of water in the bottom. I don't want the water to be touching the bottom of the glass bowl. We just want it to heat up the chocolate and the butter and melt them on a low heat. So I'm going to use my agar just on the low side until it's all melted together. You can do it in the microwave on short bursts, maybe like 10 seconds at a time, and stir it, or just on low heat. I find actually works perfectly well. And then you can get on and do the next stage while it's melting. And I'm just going to leave it to one side to cool a little bit, but you don't want it to be too hot. And we are going to whip our double cream. I'm using my Kenwood with this attachment. That's the whipping head, I like to call it. And I'm going to add 200 ml of double cream. I'm just going to roughly guess it. That's about right. Now, when whipping double cream, you don't want to over whip it. That is a bit too runny, but once it's at that stage, just slowly and keep an eye on it. Otherwise it will turn, and you don't want that to happen. So I'm going to carefully just... When you can see your whisk leaving a trail in the cream, you know that it's about right. That could have a tiny fraction more, but really carefully. And that is perfect. If you take cream a little bit too far, you can always add a little bit more cream, double cream, liquidy cream, and whisk it through and save it before it goes to butter. But you can just catch it in the nick of time if you over whisk it. And let's pop that there. And I'm going to put my whipped cream in here, and then we are going to actually just quickly wash up the bowl to do our egg whites. That's going to one side. A quick wash up. I've separated 3 eggs, so I've got my yolks in one bowl and my whites in another bowl. And in my washed up Kenwood bowl, I'm just going to tip my 3 egg whites into there and whisk them until we have, until they've turned white and they've got lots of air and they're nice and fluffy. So when your egg whites are looking like that, it's time to add in the sugar. I've got 40 grams of golden caster sugar, and I'm just going to sprinkle it in 2 batches. And the second batch. I'm going to leave my egg whites and sugar there for a moment, and this is when the orange comes in. I've got my chocolate here, which is cooling, and you want to make sure that you have done this first and let it cool. And I'm just going to zest an orange into the chocolate. Now make sure you turn the orange the whole time, so you're just taking that top layer off and you're not getting too much pith, because that makes it bitter and not very pleasant. I've got my orange zest in there, and I'm just going to squeeze this orange and use the juice of one orange. Now, if you wanted to cheat and you didn't have an orange but you had some orange juice, you could always use that instead. When I've squeezed an orange, I just let it sit for a moment so all the orange juice can go down into the bottom and it separates. And using a fork, I'm just going to whisk these egg yolks a little by hand. And then that will have done its thing. I'm going to tip the orange juice into the chocolate and zest. And we're going to mix this all together by hand. This is why you don't want that chocolate to be too hot, because it will separate badly and ruin. And we're adding the eggs in as well. So just combine that orange into the chocolate. It smells amazing. And then tip those yolks in as well. Now we're going to fold this all together, and when I think of folding, I always think of that episode of Schitt's Creek with Moira and David talking about how to fold. It is utterly hilarious. If you have watched Schitt's Creek, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. Right, so I'm going to add in that double cream and gently fold it in. And before I complete the folding process, I'm going to add in the egg white now as well. And I'm just going to gently fold all of this together, keeping as much air in my mousse as possible while combining it together. Now you can either serve this in one large bowl or in individual ramekins, and for individual I actually transfer it into a jug because it makes it so much easier. I've got these darling little heart-shaped ramekins, and so because it's Valentine's Day, I'm going to serve my mousse in those. And there they are. I've got some other little ramekins that I'm going to use as well for the rest of my mousse. Now the great thing about this is you can do it in advance, and it needs to chill in the fridge before serving anyway, so you can always do it a day or two ahead if you want to get organised. But this is a really great recipe for you to save and use any time of the year. But I just thought I'd share it with you for Valentine's Day and give it to you now so you can practice and get ahead if you want to, if you're cooking at home. We don't go out for Valentine's Day on the day. We tend to go to the theatre or do something at a different time. And we normally have the children at home because it coincides with half term. And so actually we tend to have just a delicious meal all together, and I don't always make a pudding, but for special occasions I do, and this is a really, really yummy one. You could serve it with, you could decorate it with a little bit of whipped cream, or you could grate some chocolate over the top. But actually I think it's enough like this with the chocolate and orange. So hopefully that has inspired you to give my chocolate orange mousse recipe a try. I will make sure that the recipe is linked down below and you can print it off and enjoy, keep it and enjoy. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you on Friday with my weekly vlog.